So we continue reading Book of James, and we're up to chapter 3, verse 1. Once again, we have a imperative. This is the imperative, present imperative from Ginomai, and we have it negated by may. So, let not many become didaskaloi teachers, my brothers, my brethren. A.s is the participle from oida. From oida, the participle. It's perfect in form but present in meaning. Knowing that leipsometha, we will receive, this is the future from Lambano. Interesting, in classical Greek the mu isn't there generally, it's a leipsomai, but in New Testament Greek you will get leipsomai, but you often get leipsomai as well. So knowing that we will receive medzon, greater krima judgment. Polaga ptiomin hapantes. Ptio means to stumble or to trip over, and so it's used metaphorically as sin or might be in error. It's not used very often in the New Testament, I think only 3 times, but here it's used as another one of these catchwords to connect one sentence to the other, so it's going to come back down here. So for all of us, hapantes, just like pantes, it's a more literary form, but hapantes or pantes, for we all stumble. Pola is adverbial, muchly, so often, so a great deal. Atis en logo, you notice this is enclitic, that's why the accent's back on the A. So if someone does not stumble, does not make a mistake in logo, in their speech, in what they say, this man, hutos, understand, is a perfect man. This man is perfect. Teleos, there's that teleos again. Dunatos, able, so in apposition to that, able, kalinagogesai, we had that word before, it means to bridle, to put a bridle, so the metaphors from horses, to bridle even holon tosoma, the whole of his body. And the metaphor from horses continues, the verb gets turned now using the corresponding noun, but if now the main verb is here, the word order here is quite literary, so they've got the genitive first, then the accusative, and then the object, and then we've got the main verb. So if we cast into the mouths of horses, if we cast kalinus, bridles or bits, so if we cast bits into the mouths of horses, ace top plus articular infinitive for purpose, so that autus they, pathestai, middle infinitive, to obey us. Patho, I persuade, pathomai in the middle is to obey, and it takes a dative. So that bit there is, if we cast bits into the mouths of horses, so that they obey us. Also, metagomin, metago is to direct or guide, so that we might guide the body of them, so we might guide their body. So the idea is if you can control them with a little bit, you control not just their head or their mouth, but their whole body. The metaphor changes now, the idea is the same, but the metaphor changes now to ships. Idu, behold also, so it's perhaps in English, note also, or look also, at taploia, the boats, neuter plural, onta, participle, neuter plural participle agreeing with ploia, being telikauta, of such a size, being so big, of such a size, and neuter participle here, elaunomena. This is from elauno. This is the passive participle. So the verb is elauno, I drive. So this is the present passive, being driven by anemone sclerone, by harsh winds, by heavy winds, harsh winds. There's that metago again. Are directed, hupo, by, so this is passive, by elakistu paidelio, by the smallest, by the least. This is a superlative here, by the least. Paidalion is a rudder. It's paidalion, it's neuter, second declension. So are led by the smallest rudder, hopu, wherever. He horme, this only occurs twice in the New Testament. It means impulse or desire. Wherever the desire to euthanontos. Now this is a genitive participle from euthuno, to direct. So wherever the impulse or desire of the one directing it, bulatai, wishes. Hutos gar heglosa, thus also the tongue is mikron melos, a small member, kai megale auke, but it boasts megala, big things. Perhaps adverbial here, boasts greatly. Notice we get some nice alliteration. There's quite a lot of examples, I haven't pointed them all out, but quite a lot of examples of alliteration in this author, which is a very classical thing to do. You get mikron melos esti megala. Okay. The Greeks liked these repetition of sounds, this alliteration. In fact, we skipped over it here, but it's back up here again. Polygar ptiomen hapantes. The constant use of the same letter giving alliteration that the Greeks liked the sound of. Okay, so idu, so again behold or take note of. Now this section's a little bit harder. You get helicon and helicane. That's neuter agreeing with pour, fire, helicane agreeing with hule. And it means to such an extent. So in repeated here, this one means so small, and this one is going to mean so great. So it's a interesting use of helikos. For a fire being so small, anapte sets ablaze a hule, which here is a forest, so great. So small a fire sets ablaze a forest, sets ablaze so great a forest. So a small thing is able to do a lot of damage, is the sense of it. This is from anapto, so it's a compound there. Kai heg glossa pour, and the tongue is a fire. Now there's debate around this next little section here. This may be a gloss that's got into the text somehow, and the meaning of it's debated. Cosmos, generally in New Testament Greek, generally means world, but it can mean, the cosmio is to arrange or to order, so cosmos is the ordered world, and we get our word cosmetic from this, of course, and so it can also mean an adornment, which may be the meaning here. So the tongue, now the verb is coming up, part of it's here, and the rest of it is kathistatai, which is just simply means is, or perhaps presents itself, to expand it a bit, but it's literally the tongue is the adornment of unrighteousness or wrongdoing. So the tongue is the adornment of wrongdoing. So the verb is kathistatai, from kathistemi. It often simply means is. You can bump it up a little bit and say presents itself or something, but it's often just used to mean is. Among our members, that is the parts of our body. He spilousa. Now spiloo is the verb here. It's an o verb, so spiloo, contracted. This is the present feminine participle. It's agreeing back with the tongue. The one, and it's very rare, very uncommon in biblical Greek, as is the verb phlogisto coming up. So, so this is the tongue, defiles the whole of the body, and phlogidzousa, again, feminine participle, from phlogidzo, to set fire to, mainly poetic word, and this phrase here is very, very strange. It sets fire literally to the wheel of life, the wheel of birth, the wheel of nature. This is possibly an expression taken from Orphism, the worship of the god Orpheus, which was quite common at this point of time. Now, what Nertz are doing in here? Well, apparently, Plutarch in one of his writings warns young women about these Orphics who go from door to door, a bit like the modern Jehovah's Witnesses. And so they spread their teachings quite commonly, and so this expression may have come into the language from Orphism, but simply because they went around talking about Orphic concepts. Anyway, that's what it means. It's the wheel of fortune, the wheel of life, and this is the passive here, the same verb again. This is now the passive participle, and it being itself being set on fire, hypotes gehennes, by Gehenna, that is by hell. And the a little bit more here. So pasage phusis, for every kind therion of beasts and of petanon, this is flying things, so birds, of creeping things, herpetes, of creeping things and of things in the sea. This word's not found elsewhere in biblical Greek, but it's quite common in classical and secular Greek. Things in the sea, you get the N plus the hal, sal, salt. So in the sea. So pasa phusis is the subject. So every kind of these, demazdatai, this is passive. It's fairly rare in the New Testament. It turns up in Mark, I think. So is tamed, and here is the perfect, and has been tamed. This is perfect passive, and this is passive here. This is the perfect passive, so is tamed and has been tamed by human nature. But no one, dunatai, no one among men is able to tame the tongue. The word order's interesting there, which is akatastaton. We saw that word before. It means unstable. It's a plus kata histemi. So it's unstable, an unstable evil thing. Mestu, full of eos, is poison. Thanata foru, you see that for root like from pharaoh, bringing death. So full of poison that brings death. And I'll stop it there.